Welcome back. You know, there was a time where I could keep up with everything on TV. That was before we had, 400 different channels of 200 different things you might want to watch. And so there are shows that fall between the cracks, shows that I don't watch. A good example, Stranger Things. I've been meaning to watch it, but I know that it's something I need to be alert to watch. It's something that I need to watch, with some attention to detail. And so reality TV ends up being a more frequently watched thing by me because really it's reality TV. And it's weird to me that the reality TV that we see very often doesn't seem very real. So my most recent discovery of a show that people have been watching for a very long time, and I want to talk about briefly here, is Bar Rescue. Now, Bar Rescue I'd never watched until I think it was like 6 weeks, 8 weeks, somewhere around there, some time ago. I think it was, it might have been before the Stanley Cup was awarded. So, but anyways, I watched it and I was like, this is ridiculous. So there seems to be a pattern. So you have your bar, set up here, just a little. I'll just have it look. It looks a lot like an L. It's an L, and so you have your front door. And then you got John in a van that's going to look a lot like a rectangle. I didn't make it as a YouTuber because I'm an artist. But yeah, so you have John wait out in front, and then he sits there with his mixologist, which is a bartender. Obviously, mixologist a little bit higher than a bartender. They do make some fun drinks, and Yvonne and I do take note of some of the drinks they make. They sound fantastic. And then you have very often a chef who's going to help work with the food. Now, the one thing is, I'm just going to erase this because this is not artwork. This is terrible. Which is funny because I watched the Bar Rescue last night with the artwork. So it appears that it's been going for a very long time. I think the oldest one I've seen is 2015. They're still making it now. Now, and I shouldn't put till 2022 because that makes it look like it's been canceled. So I'll just write, still going on. What I get a kick out of with this show, though, is that you've got John out, and there's a pattern. And the thing is that now Yvonne and I have watched enough episodes that we know the pattern. And so one thing I always ask is, all right, is John going to go in and berate the owner straight up? Or is he going to come in with yeah, all right, and wait. And then he's going to berate him. There's this... It's almost like a mob boss thing when he walks into. Like, he's like, it's John. And everything goes quiet. Like, oh boy. And it's just like you're waiting for a baseball bat to come out and right in the kneecap. So, which might be on brand for him. Really, seriously. So, the one thing that's kind of made me sad is that Lisa Marie Joyce is not in the most recent seasons. Anything beyond 2019, she's not in it. So finding that out made me kind of sad, but me as fun as a mixologist as well, and there are plenty of fun bartenders and chefs as well, and there are some, Vic Vegas, he'll fight a guy. I really believe that he'll fight somebody at some point in the series, and he's a good chef. There are some good chefs there. The thing that gets me though is, all right, so let's just say that recon starts on Monday. So the way that they make it sound like you get 3 days of recon. So you get 3 days of recon, and that means Thursday is when John's going to be there, and he's going to go in. So John arrives. He's just, hey. So John says hi, which involves a lot of screaming and yelling as well. Then Friday, you have your stress test. Sure seems that way. They go, hey, here's some really complicated drinks that we pretend are simple. My favorite is when whoever the mixologist is says, I'm going to do something really nice and simple. And there's 5 different kinds of liqueurs, or there's 5 different kinds of flavors, and everything's measured. And I'm like, they are so screwed. Because a lot of the time, the people who are bartenders aren't trained bartenders, which confuses me a little bit. I'm honestly kind of surprised that there aren't trained bartenders and trained chefs to be cooks in all these places. But hey, it's definitely given me more pause when it comes to, hey, if I'm in a pub, let's go ahead and order some food. Maybe pump the brakes on that a little bit. So then you have, after your stress test, it seems like there's like a day in between, and then Sunday is the ending of this, because it feels like he comes in on And again, I'm just using this as like a 7-day thing that he comes in and 3 days later they have the ending. My favorite thing about this show, and one of the things that's so addicting with it, is that John goes from screaming and yelling over here, where he's just, all of it is screaming and yelling. During the stress test, there's more screaming and yelling. And then at the ending, it's usually pretty quiet. He's pretty happy. He's not yelling and screaming. And he's like, now I've set you up for success. So having worked in a few jobs, I'm going to say that if you're not good at management on Thursday, I don't know that you're going to be good at management on Sunday. Now, there are examples of where this is possible. So the ones that get me are when they talk about their losses, like we're losing $4,000 a month. And the first thing John does when he comes in is he says, hey, so I was checking, you guys are overpouring $400 a night. Well, there's your losses right there. So all the bar has to do is change nothing, get rid of the overpouring, and they're making money. In theory, they're making money if that's all it is, right? So there's that portion of it. But I always get a kick out of how angry he is and he screams and yells, and then by the time he leaves, you've come so far. You've come so far. This has just been great. And I always watch the rest of the staff for their reactions. So there's times where the rest of the staff are like, okay, and you can see it in their face, like, as soon as John leaves, this is going back to normal. As soon as and I'm sure there are plenty of times that happens. One thing that I do, of course, while we're watching any episode of Bar Rescue is about halfway through, I will Google whether or not the restaurant's still open. And it's a game that I play with Yvonne. Is it still open? And the answer is usually no. Now, I know that it was a 50-50 success rate. The last 2 years, COVID's arrival and all the shutdowns and all the chaos that they caused, I don't think helped the bar industry. And I'm not saying anything that people will be too surprised by me saying that. It's really hurt the hospitality industry. We saw in Las Vegas last week that things have changed substantially. And a lot of the things that changed, when we would ask, we would get, yeah, 2020 really hit hard and changes had to be made. So there's a lot of bars that I think he saved that 2020 and beyond have really taken out. But because I've seen people say, well, it's about 50-50. The ones that I've been checking, it's not. It is, I would say 70-30 that they're closed. It is a fun show. The reason I'm talking about it here is because, Yvonne and I can watch an episode or two every night. The Paramount Network up here shows it like 2 or 3 episodes per day. I don't recommend watching it on the Paramount Network because their commercial breaks are like 4 minutes. It's a ridiculously long commercial break on the Paramount Network. I'm not sure. And not only that, it's not just that it's 4 minutes, but they show snippets from all their other shows. And what they show is the exact same snippets every single time. So if you watch an episode of Bar Rescue 2 months ago on Paramount, you're going to get the exact same snippets from that show now that you got 2 months ago. And so I PVR it because I fast forward through commercials. I am not sitting through 4 minutes of all the tattoo shows and it's the same. It's the same ad. I wouldn't honestly be all that upset if it wasn't the same ad every time, but it was. We did finally see the episode 2 that they use as a commercial every single day, which is the one with the lounge singer and this nice waitress named May that he says you have a propensity to throw food at people. And she's like, I don't throw plates on tables. And having watched that episode, May's right. May doesn't throw plates on tables. I have no idea why John singles her out, which is one of those things he does. He will come in and he will zero in on one person on the staff. This person sucks. The whole place could be on fire, and John's just standing there watching that person. This guy sucks. This person's terrible. It is one of the funniest things because he'll pick somebody, and sometimes he's right, and sometimes, and again, there's editing, right? So you've got to consider the editing. But it feels like through that editing, like, yeah, he screwed up his order, but these other people are breaking glasses, and there's bugs in the kitchen. And that's one thing that I wonder about with the recon, because they get all this footage, right? Oh, there's cockroaches in the kitchen, and there's fruit flies in the drinks. And yet he sits outside and watches people eat food. He watches people have drinks. He knows. He comes in. One of the first things he does, take me to the kitchen, and it's disgusting. You knew it was disgusting because you guys did recon before that. There's no way that these guys that are filming And the thing that gets me too, and one of the things that Yvonne and I laugh at every time is these people will act absolutely horrible knowing John's outside, knowing that there's cameras watching everything they do, and then he comes in and they're like, hey, what's going on? And then he'll ask them. So couldn't help noticing you were, in the bathroom, you didn't you didn't wash your hands, and then you came out and you touched everything, and then you were handling raw meat, and then you went over and you blew your nose using your sleeve, and then you wiped it off, and then you used that same hand that you wiped off your sleeve with to smack some turkey around. Like, there's just, and then they'll say, no, I didn't. You're on camera. What do you mean? No, you didn't. So it's one of my favorite things. And it really is one of those guilty pleasure shows, because I know he's going to go from screaming, then he's going to be doing a lot of the nodding while he talks, right? Because you understand that there's problems in this bar. You understand that you can't run it that way. You get this, right? And it's like, okay, yeah, I get what he's doing there. But it's funny, because then it'll be, well, it's worked out pretty well, hasn't it? I really had to bust you, and I'm really sorry, but yeah, I did what I had to do. And meanwhile, in the back of your head, you're thinking, nothing's fixed. That guy's not a good owner now, because for the last 2 days, he's started looking like he cares. It's not how it works. So I'm not surprised that a lot of them don't make it. The ones that I always get bewildered by is the ones that he comes in and they're weeks away from closing, which isn't the end of the world. But the ones that are like $600,000-$700,000 in debt, and all I say out loud is they're never paying that off. There's almost zero chance they're paying that off. That bar would have to make so much money, because if you owe that money, there's interest on what you owe. You're not digging your way out. And you can't go to bankruptcy and have a bar that's making money and all this. Oh, at least I don't think you can, unless you can prove, hey, the bar's making money, but I'm never going to pay it back. I don't know. But either way, it's interesting to me how the whole show is set up. And I do enjoy it quite a bit. I do. And this is the kind of TV that I can watch. Because day to day, you don't have to remember what happened in the last episode. You can even get partway into an episode and go, oh, I already watched this one. I forgot. And it's fine. It's not the end of the world. Whereas a lot of other TV shows that people are telling me to watch are ones where you have to watch each one. They're filmed in like a soap opera variety where it's not one-off episodes. Each one builds on the next, which is great. There's some really good shows like that. But for me, late at night, when, my wife and I are watching TV in the bedroom, very often we'll pick stuff that we watch the glass blowing competition as well. Blown Away, which is really good. The glass blowing is phenomenal. The new season is out, so we're almost through that season already too. But yeah, I wanted to talk about Bar Rescue because Jon Taffer, honestly, when we were in Vegas, I kept thinking, if we could just round a corner and run into Jon Taffer, that would be so amazing to see him, because he is bigger than life, and I've estimated out that he's probably 6 feet tall. Mia's 5'11". She wears heels, so she's got to be 6'1" wearing those heels. And so that he's about the same height she is. He's got to be 6 feet tall. So, big guy. And again, if he was being cast in a movie, I'm going to say that if you made another casino movie, you could throw Jon Taffer in there as one of the guys in the background just nodding their head. Yeah, boss. Sure, boss. Yeah, we agree, boss. He's got them crazy eyes too. People who've watched the show know what I'm talking about. So it's great. I really enjoy it. And again, this is the kind of TV that we find ourselves watching, because, like, for instance, there was an episode that got cut off. I don't know what happened, but it got cut off. And then there was another episode that got kind of fudged up. So it looked like what happened was that it was listed as going from one point to another, and I guess it just didn't, whatever it was, it didn't record properly and it didn't work, but it was okay. It was like, well, fine, that's fine. Maybe that episode will record again later. I'm not worried about it. Which, again, with a regular show, that'd be kind of frustrating. So there you go. Look for a video soon, too, as to the fact that The Flash has been canceled. Season 9 will be the final season for The Flash, to which I say, thank you. Thank you for releasing me from the bonds of The Flash, and that it's done. And thank you for releasing Grant Gustin as well, and Candice Patton, and really anybody, Danielle Panabaker, anybody who's still on the show, because, yeah. But that's for a whole other time. All right, there you go. Just a fun video for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. And hey, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. What's your favorite episode of Bar Rescue? Who's your favorite owner? Your least favorite owner? And why do people open bars if they just want to drink for free? Because it's not free. I think my favorite was the bar owner who said, "Well, I haven't paid for a drink since I opened the place." And I said out loud, "Yes, you have, because you're the owner. You buy the alcohol, you idiot." So there's that. I haven't bought a drink. Yes, you have. But anyways, there you go. Thank you guys so much for all your support. I'll talk to you again soon.